Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin String coming at you with my regular Sunday night stream. And for my dinner tonight is the second of the two halal MREs that I got from Black Dog Bob of the Minotaur Trading Company. This is a lentil stew with lamb. These halal MREs do not have menu numbers. And for the past few years, they have been packaged like this, in the same inner bag style that you would find in some Sapaco standard MREs and all of the AmeriQual ones. It has halal markings. There's two different styles. So I have a separate bag for the trash. Sometimes these can be a bugger to open. There we go. Maybe I just didn't tear it in the right spot. So inside of the standard MRE bag with the peelable seal, these do tend to offer a bit more protection for the contents, especially during shipping. And this has saved some of the MREs that I've gotten in the past that have been dinged up by the Postal Service or whatever carrier. Also, these halal ones used to have the main entree in a box, like the previous tan bag MREs up until like like a 2013, 14, 15, something like that, before the boxes got ditched. So this is the lentil stew with lamb. So this is the third of the lamb mains that you get in the current run of the halal MREs. So I'm thinking, see, this appears to be the date code right here, the first digit being a 1. So based on this one, I'm going to guess that it's a 2021. So you got Enfos in the house, and my crusher is here, spicy tuna rolls, angry blacksmith. Thanks for dropping in. Here we have a Bridgeford cinnamon bun. But this has a 2016 pack date, if this is the correct date code for it. So I don't know if Sapaco was just sitting on some of these, or Bridgeford was sitting on some of these, or what. Here is a nutrition card for the butterscotch pudding, which will come up in a bit. Tracy Phillips and CT in the house. And look what I just pulled out. I think someone will not be happy to see that. This great drink has a date code starting with 1. So I'm still going to go with a 2021 pack date. This is 1259, so that's another 2021. This is the Snackadoodle. The same mixes in the other Halal MRE, the previous one. And this is the pudding. Some of these can be a bit hard to read. But that's actually upside down. But the shininess... Nope, I had it right the first time. Okay, here is a date code right here, so it starts with the 1 as well. That's the butterscotch pudding. And cranberries. And a whole lot of them. So again, 2021 pack. Get the standard FRH, which I don't use because I'm at home, but again, this was a 2021 production on this FRH. And this is a sleeve that has the nutrition info for the lentil stew with lamb. So when I go back to edit this later, I'll go ahead and put the year 2021 in here. And I'll get rid of this thing because that's all there is left. I just have another bag off to the side. And the accessory pack was kind of folded over. The spoon was down near the bottom, so it came very close to getting busted. But I'm going to go ahead and open this right now. Yep, spoon survived intact. You know, with it being bent over like that and the spoon right up there, it could have easily gotten snapped. Again, you get 2 packs of sugar, but nothing to put it in. Get the wet wipe, a white book of matches, there is CT dropping that super chat. Let's see. Oh, okay, so I'll have to look at that one again, but I'm going to focus on the matches. Oops, that was upside down. Wow, these are D.D. Bean and Sons. They are doing the white matches. Not just the green or the tan, and of course white tip, although I have no clue what the tip color means. Again, the difference in between the halal MREs besides the packaging and then the fact that there's no hot drink option. So you get the rear roll. You get pepper in addition to the salt. That needs to be in all US MREs. And you get a napkin in addition to the wet wipe. Why they put sugar in these accessory packets when there's no hot drink option? But I got a plan for that. So my hot drink option tonight is going to be a Kenyan tea. I happen to have an oddball number of these tea bags in my kitchen, and so I drank the last two because when I make tea, I put 2 in a mug. There is Gear Grinder 19. Thanks for dropping in. So that will go into my foreignmre.com mug. I'm going to go ahead and mix up the grape drink. I like to do it like that, put it deep into the container I drink out of to keep as much of the really fine powder dust down in there. So that's what it looks like dry. That's roughly 12 ounces of water, give or take a milliliter or 3. Because these are heavy with the sugar, they do take a lot longer to dissolve. There's LC in the house. Just a unbagging of a 2021 Halal MRE. The anomalous code is on the cinnamon bun, at least that I could see. I could not see another one. It may be an impressed one that I just couldn't see on there. I'll give that another mix later. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this into the kitchen, and I'm actually going to warm the cinnamon bun, not in the pot. I'll just put it on the warmer portion of my stove surface, and it'll get a little warm that way. And then I will come back with the hot water for the tea, and I'll be right back. I wanted to pour it slowly because I didn't want to send the tag into the cup. I did take the liberty of putting a little sugar in here in the mug beforehand, since that's how I like my hot tea. There's Wyoming in the house. Thanks for dropping in. So the tea will steep for a bit. This is a Kenyan tea called Katepa. The brand is Katepa. It is a black tea. I really enjoy it. Of course, I like a lot of the teas that come from the halal food store that I frequent. And this is a 2021 lentil stew with lamb. Now this snackadoodle, it's the same snack that was in the previous halal MRE that I opened up. The question is, will it be in a little better condition? I mean, it was not bad. It is sometimes these things still have a chance to have, have a tendency to get stale. That one didn't exactly rip the greatest, but that's okay. Oxygen absorber. It's a lot of that here. So that is a snackadoodle. Regular cranberries, I like these as opposed to the osmotic ones. I do not like them, especially if they're older. That gets all the cranberries in there. This butterscotch pudding, and even some of the other puddings in here, used to be a bit gritty. The flavor was good, but the grittiness was a bit odd. And that is Nation MRE info in the house. I'm just going back through the chat to see if I missed anyone. No, I think I'm caught up on who's in here. The tear notch goes across this way, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it across this way. It even looks a lot smoother than it used to. And once they got rid of that grittiness, the flavor has actually improved. So they really improved the recipe by just by getting rid of that grittiness alone, and then whatever else they did. It made it so much better. So I put the cheaters away. I'm going to give my grape drink another mix because there's still a bunch of powder at the bottom. This is why I like to mix these drinks first before doing anything else to give them more of a chance to dissolve. It looks like your standard grape Kool-Aid. But this isn't the, it's just not repackaged Kool-Aid. There's other stuff in it. Because just regular Kool-Aid that you buy off the store shelf would have to have stuff added to it to meet the military requirements. Whatever the heck those are. There's the Kool-Aid done. Oh, this Snackadoodle. It is an improvement over the snacks that used to be in the halal MREs. They are changing that up, putting different stuff in. They just need to work on keeping them fresher. But because this is a 2021 pack, there should be no issue with freshness here. No, this is not peanut butter. This is butterscotch pudding. It may look like peanut butter, but there's a slight difference. Now, this has a bit of an orange undertone. See that? This is a corn stick. Now that definitely tastes fresh. You know, the butterscotch pudding definitely has a much better flavor and a smooth texture without that grittiness. There is Storm's Radio and Cats. And so thanks for dropping in. Darnell, thanks for dropping in. You're looking at 2021 pack date halal US MRE lentil stew with lamb. Again, these do not have a hot drink option, so I always choose one for my own stash, and I may change it up every time I get one of these MREs. So I have a Kenyan tea called Katepa Pride. Pride meaning, you know, proud of the Kenyan origin of the tea. And I'm a tea bag squeezer, so. So it's a black tea, but it has a slight different note to it than other teas. I'm currently that box of Ceylon tea that I showed in my grocery shopping haul for this month. I have since gotten into that, and I'm really enjoying that. That has more of a fragrant note to it, but it's the first time I've had a Ceylon tea like that, so I'm really enjoying it. But this Katepa Pride is also an awesome tea. So the other element to this snack mix are these corn nuts. They look more like the corn nuts than some of the other corn nuggets, which are more processed than this. And then this is a sesame stick. Let's get to focus on it. Those taste very fresh. So when these snack mixes are fresh, they're really awesome. Just making sure the focus is right there. I'll take a drink of this. Since someone else won't. That's okay. I should still be on because last time I went over 2 hours, so I may do that again. Who knows? Depending on how much we shoot the bull and miss. But anyway, I'm going to go into the kitchen. I'm going to get the cinnamon bun and the lamb stew, and I'll be right back. I was just moving my charger cable a bit out of the way. I slide the tray to the left. By the way, this thing right here, that's the little grab part of my foam mount. So I have a paper towel to wipe these off. At least I just have, I'll wipe the cinnamon bun pouch off because I put this on top of it to bring it out here. I'll just put that back there. Let's see what Bridgeford has done to this cinnamon bun. Just separating the oxygen absorber from it. That's the bottom side. That's the top side. A little bit of a gloss to it. I shake the food down so that when I go to open it up, it doesn't spray all over the place. The lamb is in pretty good sized chunks. It's the same texture as in the other two lamb dishes. There's a piece of lamb with a lentil on either side of it. I can't answer that because I've never had it. The lentils are a bit soft. But you can still make them out when you look at it. They have not gone to complete mush. But the flavor is all there. Yeah, the lamb is not dry. It's cooked just the way I like it. That was a bit of rice that just dropped. The rice is also quite soft, but you can still pick it out. Well, it's not gone to complete mush. It's just not the firmer texture that you would normally want to have when you're eating a rice like a basmati rice. The ingredients don't say what kind of rice, just says parboiled. So the rice is partially cooked before it is added to the rest of the ingredients. But when you look at the ingredients list, it's actually not that long. It's your typical enriched rice. It does have sugar in there, which that would account for the sweetness that I'm picking up. It could use more of the garlic powder. And I would like a little onion in here. Yeah. I would enjoy this with a little bit more of that garlic and onion flavor in it and less of the sugar. I've never had goose either, so I have no idea what that is like. I have had ostrich thanks to that very first foreign ration that I had reviewed, which is that French RCIR from 2015. Ostrich meat is a very dark meat, and it had the cranberries in the sauce. I really, really enjoyed that one. I would love to get my paws on another one of those, but I seriously doubt that's going to happen. But if you can find that ostrich RCIR, and if it was stored in good condition, I would highly recommend it. Yeah, it's in like any bird. Your wild turkey tastes different than your domestic commercially raised turkey. Same with the chicken. Although I have never had a wild caught chicken, so I don't know what that's like. But I'm sure it would be the same with a goose that has been hunted as opposed to commercially raised. There are some people who raise ducks and geese for meat and possibly their eggs. Although it would be interesting to try eggs from any bird other than a chicken. Or even a Cornish game hen or quail. Actually, I've never had eggs from either of those two. I've only had a chicken egg. But I have had farm fresh eggs that were as new as 12 hours out of the back end of the bird. And they do taste a lot better than commercially raised chicken eggs. I suppose you can't call them raised because they're just collected right out of the bird and sent off to processing. It would be nice if there was a piece of naan to go with this. That was just a piece of lamb fat, so they left the lamb fat in here. I'm not much for eating just straight up meat fat, but I was curious what that was, and it was actual lamb fat that they leave in here. But I do like the flavor that the fat gives to the dish. Plus, it helps keep the moisture in the meat as it cooks, especially if it's slow cooked. And now that I have an Instapot that was given to me by one of my sisters, I guess my nephew got one, or one of my nephews got one, but either he didn't like it or he wanted a different model. So it was in the package. I did not have to cut any tape to get the box open, so I'm assuming it was looked at, maybe used once, and then repacked with all the packaging. In fact, the bag that I'm using for my trash bag actually came out of that box with that Instapot. It's the Instapot Duo. So it's not the Max, so I cannot can in it like the one that Disabled and Prepping she has. She can up to pint jars in her Instapot Max, and she does that. So that's how she preserves some of her food. You know, it's easier for her to do that in the Instapot because she doesn't have to try to lift quart jars out of that. She can do 3 pints at a time. That's all it will do. But, you know, that's one way that she can prep is by using that Instapot Max to can. Oh, you mean cranberry in with the lamb? Yeah. Yeah, when you can put the pressure on it, that does make things cook faster. In fact, my sisters, two of my sisters who share a house, they have a different Instapot model. Of course, they also have an air fryer, which is slightly different. But that's, you know, I don't know which one that they have. But just for the heck of it, I'll drop a cranberry on there. I could not taste the cranberry over the rest of the lamb and the seasoning. Yeah, we had the canned cranberry, that jelly cranberry sauce. I like it. Some people don't, but I'll eat that stuff all year round. I put a couple more pieces of cranberry on there this time. The tartness of the cranberry does cut through the sweetness a bit, but it takes more of it. It does give you a little bit more of something to chew on. Yeah, I have not had a freshly made cranberry sauce or compote or anything like that, and I don't know when. But I suppose if you're doing it on a budget, and as far as time goes, the canned stuff does work. Being shelf stable. So other than that, and the pomegranate seeds, those were the only fruity things that we had, other than we had some pickles and olives. And we had the other usual suspects, the stuffing that was done just in a casserole dish and stuffing that was done in the bird. And we had the green bean casserole, and we had yes, 3 different pies and pumpkin pie bars. And we had the mashed potatoes and gravy. Some of the others ate ham. Of course, I don't eat ham since Muslims don't eat pork. Well, that's fine, Tracy. I'll eat all the cranberries for you. I like them. They're a good on-the-go snack. Well, that as long as this chat is saved, because I think I don't know if my chats are permanently saved after the stream, but the recipe will be saved along with the rest of the chat after the stream is over. Of course, what you can do is afterwards, you can drop it in a comment. I'm going to go ahead and that's the underside of the cinnamon bun. Looks like it's got a fairly decent amount of filling in there, but the bread is quite thick. I can smell the cinnamon. At first bite, I didn't taste it, but now I'm getting that cinnamon flavor. It just kind of hits you on the back end. But the bread does overpower the flavor of the filling. You add a bit of cinnamon to it, or maybe put some apple pie spice blend, or any spices that you put in an apple pie or an apple cobbler. You could mix in with the applesauce. That's one way you can jazz it up. Oh, there's one of those little potato stick things. That's in the snack mix. Those would be the first to go, most likely, as this stuff ages. You get a tiny bit of crunch, but because they're so small, they dissolve right away. Yeah, pears would lend itself to that kind of a treatment, like applesauce. I put one of the corn nuts in there that has a longer crunch because it's a little, there's a little more substance to that. These little corn sticks taste closer to like a Fritos. They have a slightly different flavor than the corn nuts. That's a piece of a sesame stick. It almost gets lost. And thanks for coming in, Tracy. Go check out his latest video. Yeah, someone was able to get a hold of a 2021 Canadian IMP with the new pulled beef menu. It looked pretty good. The pub style, although I would probably pass on it because of the beer ingredient. But again, that's just me. The grape drink is an odd drink choice for this meal, but I don't know if it was specifically paired with it or just a drink powder was grabbed at random and tossed into the bag. That tastes like a butterscotch jello pudding, but only a halal version. Yeah, no grit, no weird aftertaste. I would eat that all the time. In fact, I'll have another bite. I love blue cheese. Moody cheeses? I didn't know there were moody cheeses. I've had your common blue cheese. I've had some Maytag blue. I've never had that. I don't know if I can get Ken's products up here. I would have to look in a store next time I go in one. So I don't know if that would be a regional thing. Yeah, the Maytag blue is the tops of the blue cheese that I've had. My late dad and I were the ones who would eat more blue cheese than anyone else in the family. The others really didn't like it as much. And if we went to a restaurant where blue cheese, either put on the salad or as a dressing, were an option, that is what we would get. Yeah, I would draw the line there. Yeah, there is a company here that does the Maytag blue cheeses, and and then sells them all over. I don't know what it is. But if you can find the Maytag blue and you got the coin to afford it, then it's okay to treat yourself once in a while. Now, the reason why it's called Maytag blue is because, well, the company Maytag, before it got bought out by Whirlpool and pretty much run into the ground, they were headquartered in Newton, Iowa, which is not all that far from Des Moines. And so it was started in that city. I don't know a whole lot about its origin, but that I do know. And it was called Maytag Blue, and that name pretty much stuck. Booger butt, Dave. You're looking at a 2021 pack halal lentil stew with lamb. Of course, there's none of that left because I just finished it off. But I got cranberries, just straight up cranberries, not the osmotic ones. This is a snackadoodle. It's got corn nuts, it's got peanuts, pretzels, the corn sticks, potato sticks, and the sesame sticks. And a cinnamon bun, but the bread is so thick it overpowers the cinnamon filling flavor. And then this is butterscotch pudding, the improved version without the grit that I used to have from, say, like before 2017 or 18 or something like that, when the recipe got changed. It's smooth like you would get any pudding from a store. Nothing to overpower the butterscotch flavor. Yeah, I did warm it by just putting it on the stove top, but it's obviously cooled off since, so wouldn't really notice. But I could have heated this. I could have either put it in the pot with the stew pouch, or I could have heated it in the microwave. That would wake up the flavor of the filling, maybe let it sink more into the bread. But yeah, you can see how thick the bread is, even in the middle. Yeah, just fix the focus. And the drink is your typical MRE grape drink. Kind of tastes like an enhanced Kool-Aid. But because there's no hot drink option, I chose a tea from my stash. It's called Katepa Pride. It is a Kenyan black tea. I really like it, and it's very popular at my mosque. In fact, we have people who will use it. They'll make it and bring it during Ramadan, or during special meals. They might bring it. In fact, I got that box when we had a wedding lunch of last month. No, it was actually earlier this month. And when I was helping the kitchen crew clean up and pack things up, I asked them if they were going to take the tea. He said, "No, you have it." So only a few bags out of that box were used. So I probably ended up with maybe 95 tea bags. So I didn't have quite a whole box. So I had an odd number. And when I make tea, I put 2 bags in my coffee maker. And that's enough to fill the mug that I drink out of. And so I had an odd one left. So I chose it for tonight. And there is Art Nina for an MRE dropping that super chat. Saying hi to everybody. Thanks for dropping in. Lentil stew with lamb, 21 pack. It's one of my favorite mains, but the addition of the sugar, I didn't like the sweetness of it, but I'm sure there was a reason for it. But, the lentil stew with lamb has always been one of my favorites. I just found it a little sweet this time. And there's already enough sweet from the butterscotch pudding, the cinnamon bun, and the cranberries. So I would put a few bits of the snackadoodle mix in there. I didn't put any peanuts or pretzels in there, but I put the corn nuggets, the little potato sticks, and these little sesame stick things. And then little corn sticks I would drop in there. I even tried dropping a few cranberries, but the flavors of the stew overpowered the cranberry unless you put a whole bunch of them in. And then the tart of the cranberry would cut through the sweetness. But everything in the snack mix is very fresh. There's nothing that tastes stale like sometimes can happen with these. Yeah, Art and Nina have a few items on their site. They got some of the DAF rations. Only the salmon ones. And I enjoy both of those mains, so I had gotten the two salmon ones, the black line, that were like the 1,500 calorie version. I had the salmon paella and the salmon stew. Now they have a few of the red lines selling them in pairs, but they're both the same menu. I think they're both the paella. And they're 1,000 calories, so there's something slightly less as far as something is either reducing calories or not as much of something, or something is put in there that is different. I don't know, it's been a while since I had one of the red line DAF rations, but I would love to get a legit Chilean military ration that DAF does in the tan bag. I've only seen, I think, a couple videos on it. And it's been a few years. But the other mains that DAF puts in the white bag rations, those are all good. I would eat those any day. Sorry about that. Yeah, the berry jam. Sorry about that. Yeah, the berry jam, it's more of a syrup. And the way I eat it is like I've done in my reviews of it. I crumble up the big cracker, which I call a big cookie, and then put the berries jam over top of that, and then mix it up and let it sit. Let the big cracker pieces soak up that syrup, and you got yourself a ration cobbler. That's what I call it. Well, if there was a legit Mexican ration that was produced in Mexico, or maybe by a packer from another country for the Mexican military, that is not some weird gimmick knockoff or spoof, heck yeah, I'd go for it. I'm sure it would be something that would be more, the menus might be more of what would be a typical Mexican food, but done in a shelf stable manner. All I've seen from Danish is that you get one of those, you get a crap ton of stuff. Just like some of the other European 24-hour rations. You get a 24-hour ration. You can probably look up Danish rations videos on YouTube and you'll probably find several. Let's see, Steve 1989 has done one. I think Gundog might have done one. G. Schultz might have done one. I'm not sure. I think Nathan's MRE, he's might have done one. Well, it would be interesting to try that, but I bet the shipping is a bugger. Now, one time I tried to buy a newer version of the German EPA. It wouldn't accept my payment method, even though I obviously had the funds to cover it. It's just that for some reason it would not accept an American account paying for it, which is odd. So someone would have to get it for me and then ship it to my address, kind of a backdoor sort of way, and hope that customs doesn't raid it. No way, that's all? Only 17 euros? If that's still available, I hope I get my my next deposit sometime tomorrow, because I do need to get some more rations because I am down to one MRE. Although CT sent me an email. Oh, cool. That would be awesome. So if I get my, because I need to pick up prescriptions, I need to, I want to get my bills paid for December, but I do need to get some more rations. So I would definitely try to jump on it. I don't know who Sheila is. I don't know if that's someone whose name I don't recognize. Gonna have another handful of the cranberries. Oh, cool. That'll work. Sometimes my deposits kick in after, like right after midnight. Sometimes I don't get it till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's Central Time. So that varies from month to month when that happens. But I definitely do want to try one of those. They're rations from so many countries I want to try. You know, Delicious did a stream recently. Actually, it was Saturday, probably a few hours, a couple hours or so before Smokey got his stream going. And he had a Estonian ration, one of their newer ones. And he pretty much liked everything that was in that one. But you should be able to go back to Delicious channel and see the replay of that review. Plus, he opened up a few other goodies. Like he had an identical can from an Arpol group ration. Like he sent me the vegetarian cabbage rolls. He opened one of those cans up. He had not tried that one himself, but he had an extra one, or he got an extra one after he sent one to me. And of course, I told him that I really enjoyed it paired with that lamb tashunka that he sent me in another can. Stanton Shenanigans in the house. Thanks for dropping in. 2021 pack. That same snackadoodle mix is in the previous halal MRE that I did. But everything tastes a little bit fresher this time. I guess because it's I don't know, it just tastes fresher. But a Bridgeford cinnamon bun. Unfortunately, the bread overpowers the filling. I just dipped it in the tea. All that did was add a little moisture to it. But nothing for the flavor. The bread even overpowers the flavor of the tea. But if you heat these cinnamon buns up, then they're actually a lot better tasting. A much improved butterscotch pudding over the gritty stuff that used to be in here, in these halal MREs. There is James Ortiz in the house. Thanks for dropping in. And finishing off the 2021 pack lentil stew with lamb. See, the lamb stew is gone. But the snackadoodle mix, everything in it tastes fresh. Cranberries are awesome. Butterscotch pudding, super smooth. Butterscotch flavor is right in there. Great drink, typical. The only thing that is a letdown is the thickness of the bread of the cinnamon bun. But if I would have warmed this up even more than just sitting it on my stove top next to a burner, then it would be a lot better. And it looks like some of the filling, some of the more liquidy parts kind of seep through to the bottom, or maybe the top, or maybe it was supposed to be mixed throughout the dough. But when you actually get into the filling, that cinnamon flavor is there. It would be nice to have more of it. And as usual, no hot drink at all in its halal MREs, so I have a Katepa Pride black tea. That I just pulled from my kitchen. I almost went for a G7 coffee, but I thought, I got just a single Katepa tea bag, so I'll go with that. And I thought that would be a better fit than a 3-in-1 coffee, as much as I enjoy the G7 3-in-1 coffees. I decided to go with the tea instead. So the first weekend in December, the first Sunday in December, I have a beef ravioli MRE. And right now, that is it for my rations. I still have not heard anything about my Valhalla survival order. I think something happened to it, just like what happened to my last Minotaur Trading Company order. Yeah, they thought it was fulfilled, but I never got a shipping notification. The site says unfulfilled. So I don't know if it's just because not enough people doing it, or and things are getting lost in the shuffle. But, I'll just keep asking about the status of it. I mean, that's all I can do. In the meantime, I'll just chase down other options. And I will check out that message later. And if I can jump on that one, if it will let me buy it, then I will try to go for that one. And then I just have to hope that Customs doesn't try to get their gritty paws on it. Thanks a lot, Mike. Thanks for dropping in. And do check out Mike's most recent review. It was a good one. Since I have that beef ravioli MRE, I'm thinking what I might do. I don't know. I'll just have to see what's in it to see if I might just play with it a little bit. Maybe after I empty it out of the retort pouch, shake some of my own Parmesan cheese on it, because I have some in the fridge. I have had that main before, but I don't think I've had it in a complete MRE. I've gotten just the retort pouch is either part of a mystery box or something like that, or a package of stuff was sent to me and it just happened to be one of the items in the box. But I think it's a 2018. I'd have to look at the date code on it because there is a date code on the bag. I'm going to see what this does. Some of the butterscotch pudding on the cinnamon bun. Butterscotch takes over the cinnamon flavor. There is CR from north of the border. Thanks for dropping in. So you're not the only Canadian dropping by here, CR. 2021 pack. Lentil stew with lamb. I would love to have a full case of at least 2021 halal MREs. I'd love to see if I get at least one of every menu. I don't know how many menus there are in the current halal lineup. I would have to get on MRE info to see if they got a list of all of the halal MRE menus. But the new chicken one, I had one of those. That was one of the 4 halal MREs that I got. Recently. So 2 from Bob, and then 2 from, I think CT sent me the other 2. So I've had all three of the lamb menus. The sag chole, the jalfrezi with lamb, and now the lentil stew with lamb. So those are, at least that I know of, the three lamb menus in the halal run. But I enjoy the halal beef stew as well. I think there are a couple of vegetarian menus in the halal lineup. There were foreign MREs. Yeah, you probably did get rated. Now, I'm surprised that Customs didn't raid the package that I got from Delicious and steal the lamb tashanka or his homemade beef jerky. Yeah, that beef jerky did not make it to video because I chowed down on it that night. Yeah, I just couldn't hold myself back. Smokey loves his beef jerky. It was awesome to get some myself. And he makes a good beef jerky. A chai tea would have gone well with this menu, I think. But I'm out of the chai tea. I'll have to get me another box of it, I guess. I can either just go to a store and buy a box of the Hy-Vee brand chai tea bags, or I can get my absolute favorite and go with the one that I get from Halal Groceries. And that one, I forget the actual brand name, but it's known as masala tea. So masala is a spice blend. If you've heard of garam masala, a tea masala is a spice blend that's made for use in a hot tea to spice it up a little bit. And so a chai masala, in some languages, the word chai means tea. Any kind of tea, it would be called a chai. The Russian tea bags will have that word as chai on it, in the Cyrillic, of course. But in some other countries, the same word is used for any reference to tea. I have never been in a Trader Joe's. It's just not conveniently located for me. We have a similar store called Gateway Market, but it's a little difficult to find as well, and it's several blocks from a bus stop. But if I've had anything from Trader Joe's, it's only because someone else got it and gave it to me. So I guess I prefer to stick to places that are more easily accessible to me, that are not too far from a bus stop, or there's a bus stop right there or right across the street. And with the HALAL groceries, I'm friends with the owners. In fact, two of the grandsons of one of the pair of owners now work there. So basically keeping it in the family. And I really enjoy working at their grandparents' store. And it's not too far away from my my new favorite restaurant. I can get Moroccan mint teas at HALAL. I just not have tried them. I just might have to get a box and see what it's like. You know, sometimes they might have a tea that I want or that I've tried before that I might want to get again. And sometimes they may be out of it. You know, it's like everywhere else, supply chain issues. HALAL has had their issues with getting stuff in, then they have to find something else to fill in. You know, at least something similar to what it replaces or at least substitutes for. But the last time I was in there to actually pick up something for the mosque, I did not see any of the Katepa Pride tea boxes on the shelf with the other tea, so they were out of it. And I'm not sure where else I can get it, short of ordering online. But I would rather get stuff like that locally. You know, support a local business. So if I can do that, I can. Yeah, especially, I'm not sure how many cities do some of the streets like Des Moines, and there has been some noise about changing the one-way only traffic rules for the downtown part of the city, at least on the west side of the river, to where you can take any street and either direction and not have to go one way. And if you overshoot, you have to go an extra couple of blocks out of your way just to get back on track. Now that idea to change that has been kicked around. And right now, because of the river bridge construction, one of the bridges will not be done until the spring. And then they're going to knock down the third one. So the Grand Avenue Bridge was the first downtown river bridge to get rebuilt. Now the Locust Street Bridge is being worked on, and the roadbed is already down, or at least the base of it, but there's still ways to go to get it completed before it can be reopened to traffic. And then the Walnut Street Bridge will be next, and then the Court Avenue Bridge will be done after that. So they're doing them in stages. So try to reduce the impact on traffic across the river. Otherwise, you'd have to go all the way over to either the freeway or University Avenue or south of Court Avenue to get across the river. If you're referring to the sculpture park, it's in the western part of the downtown area, in between Grand Avenue and Locust Street. It looks like a whole bunch of supersized sculptures scattered about. Yeah, that's just referred to as the Papa John Sculpture Park. And yeah, there was some crazy construction around there. Right now, that's pretty much clear area in that area, but over on 7th and Walnut, where the old Yonkers building used to be, or at least the front half of it, because the front half got destroyed by fire when there was some work being done on the inside of it to transition it into a mixed-use space of retail in the basement and first floors, and housing on the rest of the floors. But the front half of the building, after it got torn down, it was decided that that whole area will be turned into a small urban city park. And the skywalks that used to connect to that building, one part of it is completely gone. The other part of it is nearly gone. And then they're having to reface the buildings that those skywalks came out of to make it look like a skywalk was never there. So that area is still not open to traffic because the work is still going on, not only in the building, the remains of it that survived the fire, but that park area, that's a construction work site, so they probably won't do landscaping until the main work of the building itself is done. But the Dart Central Station has been in existence for 10 years. So that took all of the buses away from Walnut Street, where they used to line up, and cars were not allowed on the blocks in between uh, 5th and 7th. Cars were not allowed on that street during the times that the buses were running. But once the station was built south of there, that was opened up to regular traffic, except when there's construction going on. Well, a lot has changed, and if she's keeping up with the changes, if you might want to make sure your GPS is up to date, or at least get a city map. There's probably in Des Moines proper. I don't know what the census figure was, but I'm sure there's probably at least 275,000. I mean, that's just a guess. I mean, the last official figure I heard was 250,000. But, the suburbs are growing. Sorry about that. I just had a brief disconnect. I do apologize for that. But, the suburbs are growing. And pretty soon, all of them will be like West Des Moines or Clive, or where, unless you're paying attention to the signs, you don't know when one ends and the other begins. So all of the suburbs are getting like that, but especially Ankeny, West Des Moines, and Altoona. Of course, Altoona has Adventureland and the casino. Prairie Meadows. It's not just a horse track anymore. It's a casino. It started out with just slots, but then table games were allowed. Sports betting is allowed, so they have a sports betting operation there. There is Recyclable Homestead in the house. Welcome. Thanks for dropping in. Haven't seen you in here before. I do these ration reviews every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern. And tonight was halal lentil stew with lamb, packed in 2021 by the Sapaco company. They pack standard MREs. They pack other rations for the U.S. military, and they have done civilian rations. They have done the humanitarian daily rations. They have done the meal cold weather, which are the Arctic rations in the white bags. They do the 24-hour first strike ration, which has mostly things like, the fruits, nuts, snack mixes, anything inside of a bread, drink mixes. They might have some meat sticks. Nothing that would require heating, unless there was a coffee. It's been a while since I last had a first strike ration, so I don't remember what is all in the accessory pack, but you usually get 2 accessory packs in those. You get an enhanced version of the standard accessory pack, which might have 3 wet wipes and a gum, a drink mix, one of the small stick drink mixes that you might put into your standard water bottle or a canteen. And then you get another accessory pack that would have some condiments in it. But maybe that's what I'll have to do is to get a newer pack for Strike Ration. See if there's anything new about them, because I think it's been like 2 or 3 years since I last had one of those. The Bridgeford Company does a lot of these filled bread, things like the cinnamon bun, blueberry turnovers, apple turnovers, a filled sandwich type thing. And this is a butterscotch pudding. It's basically like any pre-made pudding that you'll get in a store. These puddings used to have a gritty texture and taste to them before like 2016 or 17 or something like that, before the recipe got changed. Yeah, Sterling is another one. See, there is the Bridgeford. It's a little ripped from where I opened it, but they are also known for some of their civilian stuff. I used to get Bridgeford beef jerky in the store, but I have not seen that. But they have done some other things, like you can get wraps or something. I have not seen them here, but you could go into a store and buy a civilian package version of something like a barbecue sandwich or a chicken wrap or something like that. But Sterling is the one that does a lot of the other things, like the tortillas, the wheat snack breads, Italian breadsticks, the cornbread, the cakes that you'll get in some MREs. Yeah, so Sterling does a lot of those. Oh, that would be awesome, because I have been nipping into my supply of those that I used to have. In fact, for dessert with lunch, I found my cornbread that was beat all to crap. I put it into a bowl, put some uh, dollops of country crock on it, heated that up in the microwave, and then poured some pancake syrup on top of that. And then I have heated up the Italian breadsticks. They taste really good when they're warm. Put a little butter on it. Call it good. Going after some more of the cranberries. So, your typical MRE grape drink. In a drinking jar. Yeah, sure, that'll work. Yeah, I like to use this drinking jar. I had another one, but I thought it could tolerate hot water. But I guess I did it one too many times. I was doing hot cocoa in it, and that one that my mom gave me busted. I saved most of the cocoa. It did not completely shatter, but it came apart. But I did save most of the cocoa. So I bought another one on eBay. So this is a different brand than the one that my mom gave me. And this one has a slight yellowish tint to the glass, whereas the one that my mom gave me was actually clear. But, I wanted a vintage drinking jar, so I found one. I just don't tell my mom that I broke that other one. That's our secret. In fact, no one in my family knows I do this stuff on YouTube. Yeah, some of them are pretty darn good. It just depends on the sandwiches, which would be your main entree. Some of those can be lacking on the filling or just plain lacking on the flavor. Sometimes you would get a retort pouch of the white chicken chunks. Of course, no way to heat it. You might get a packet of mayonnaise or something. Sometimes you'll get the tuna packets. And lately they've been putting a flavor other than the lemon pepper tuna. But it's in the Star-Kissed camo pouch, which is really cool. Those Star-Kissed tuna pouches are almost double the amount of tuna that you get in the ones that you would buy in a store. And they are packed full. But yeah, the First Strike rations, because they're designed to be eaten on the run, the only thing you would have to prepare really would be the drink mixes. And you always get those in the shaker pouches that have that hourglass shape instead of just a straight up rectangle. and you get a tan Ziploc bag that you can either use as a trash bag, because the ration bag itself is not a resealable bag, which I love to see them change. But you can either use that for trash, or you can use it to put your unused stuff in if you have a means of disposing of trash in another way. Yeah, the garlic and herb chicken, that is actually not bad. I had a retort pouch with that garlic chicken, and I think I combined it with a fettuccine alfredo pouch. Or no, not the fettuccine alfredo, but it was the spinach fettuccine. I combined it with that. I did something else like that with the chicken chunks, but that one was actually done on camera, where I did that combining just the regular chicken chunks with the spinach fettuccine. But just on my own, I took the spinach fettuccine and the garlic chicken and put those together. Yeah, for a couple of years, I haven't done it since, but I really need to do that again. I did what you call ration mashups, where I had elements of American and foreign rations that I would recombine into meals. So I got a whole series of those from a few years ago. By this spork. You can also get it for MRE.com. This is made out of titanium. It's light. And if for some reason you do bend the tines out of shape, you can put them back. In fact, I've done it to this one. But this is what I use for my reviews. I have a few more of these. In fact, I took one camping with me earlier this month when I went to the Veterans Weekend camp out with some other Iowa YouTubers and a couple of guests. So I took out the UST steel spork that I used to carry. It's a little bit longer than this is, but I decided to go ahead and put one of these in there instead. So I had that, and then my Open L number 8 folding knife, which I only use for a food prep. So if I'm cutting meat like bacon or beef bacon or a halal sausage or something like that, then I use my Open L number 8. That's all I've done with it since I've had it, was food prep. That replaced a 98-cent Walmart special knife that I had before. I still have it, I just don't use it. It just doesn't do the job that the Opinel does. And it's a perfect size for using in camp for food prep because it folds up. It's a nice quality knife, and because it has a 90-degree spine, so it's sharp enough you could rip sparks off a ferro rod with it. But I won't do it with that one. But I'm just saying you can do that with those Opinel knives because of the way the spine or the back edge of the blade is. Finishing the last few crumbs of that snack mix. So anyway, back to the rations. You get one of these spoons in the first strike ration. I save all these spoons. I put them in a bag with spoons I've gotten from other rations or just picked up from elsewhere. And these become part of my emergency supply. So if I have to restrict my water use, and I have to rely solely on either water I have stored, or I have to go down to the river and collect, or somehow rig up something to collect rainwater on my deck, then I have these disposable things. And same with any napkins. I save all of these. I save all of the rear rolls. All these moist towelettes, I save them. I save the matches. These sugar packets get stored. The salt and pepper gets stored. Yeah. Ration packers, put that in all MREs. You got to do that. And I saved the flameless ration heaters because there may come a time where I may have to heat up a small container or bag of food, but I want to be super discreet about it. So I would either, if it's small enough to put inside the bag, I would put in. Otherwise, I would put it on top of this after I put the water into the bag and use it that way. Or I would use one of my hot beverage bags, put water and whatever hot drink option I want, put that in a beverage bag, put that in here, throw the water in there. And then I would do it that way. This way, I could heat up something and no one would be the wiser. Or if I'm going somewhere to an event and have to take my own food, and I've done this before. I took a halal retort pouch. I forget what it was. I think it was a beef stew. I took one of these, a couple other food items, and I had the MRE bag. I put my retort pouch inside this, put the water in it, threw it into the MRE bag, and because it was a hot day already, this FRH bag literally melted to the MRE bag. I couldn't separate them to get the retort pouch out of here, but it worked. I was able to heat up that pouch and eat the food that way. Well, I could do without a lot of things. I don't, you know, the only time I eat out really would be if I go to a restaurant that I have a gift card for or I'm with other people. But, I pretty much blow off any kind of fast food except Tasty Tacos. I will go over there once in a while. But that doesn't happen, you know, maybe once every few months I might go in there. But well, you can freeze dry a liquid, and then you would grind it down into a powder. That's what coffee. That's what a lot of the instant coffee is. It's freeze dried coffee. It's brewed, and then it's put into the freeze dryer. And then after that, it's ground down into a powder, or at least into a larger crystal type. Say if you buy the Folgers crystals. Oh, this just happens to be a Hy-Vee version, but this instant coffee. That's freeze dried. That's how it's done. When you look at ingredients, and it might say something like soy sauce powder or hot sauce powder or juice powder or something like that. That true lemon and the true lime, all that is freeze-dried lemon or lime juice with the oil from the rind. That's, the lemon oil, lime oil from the rind. That's freeze-dried. That's all that is. And from some companies, you can buy soy sauce powder. You can buy Worcestershire sauce powder. Butter powder is just freeze-dried butter. That's then ground down into the powder. The same with when you buy the instant milk. It's freeze dried and then processed down into a powder. That's all that is. Same with peanut butter. I have peanut butter powder. I have honey powder. But if I had to give up something, you know, as much as I like nuts, I don't eat them very often, but I do enjoy them now and then. I ate peanuts in this, and last Saturday when I was visiting my mom at the rehab center before Thanksgiving, one of my sisters gave me a snack bag with a nut mix, and so I munched on that, and I gave a few pieces to my mom because she wanted some of the cashews, because they're a soft nut that she can chew with her dentures, although she has to avoid, she doesn't eat nuts a whole lot because, when you're wearing dentures, that stuff can get underneath the denture, and that can be hard to deal with until you actually take the dentures out to clean them out. Yes, the honey is freeze dried. And then it's ground down into a powder. It has another ingredient added to it just for the purpose of processing, but it is a natural ingredient. But I do have honey powder. Augustin Farms has it. Thrive Life has it. I'm not sure what other companies have it. There may be, I don't know, there's some other companies that do the number 10 cans. They may have it. And I've heard from other YouTubers who have done this. I haven't. But you can buy 6 packs of number 10 cans of single ingredient foods from Mormon canneries, but you do not have to be a Mormon to do so. But you can either buy from a cannery in your state, or you go online to do it, but you get them, and it's 6 number 10 cans of whatever it is. It might be rice, it might be beans, it might be pasta, it might be sugar. I've never done that. I don't have any of those. But, Alaska Granny gets some of her number 10 cans that way. And some others do it. It depends on what you're rehydrating or reconstituting. There may be a different process for reconstituting either the shredded cheese or cheese powder than it would be, say, for like potato shreds or meat. It all depends on what you're doing and what you're going to do it for. But the channel Iridium 242, he has demonstrated how to do that with different types of freeze-dried foods, whether it's small pieces like you'll get, say, in a Mountain House or Backpacker's Pantry entree, or a single fruit or vegetable like freeze-dried peas or dehydrated carrots, or green beans or anything like that. But he has also done foods from a company called Freeze Dried Wholesalers, and you get those in blue bags. But he has demonstrated how to rehydrate and sometimes cook those foods because they do things that a lot of the other companies don't do. But he has done the Thrive ones because he also buys and resells Thrive or Thrive Life. I just refer to it as Thrive because I have some of those cans. I have Augustin Farms. I have a few, not very many, but a few Mountain House cans. I got a couple from Emergency Essentials and some other company. I forget what it was, and I don't feel like going to dig out the can from where it's at. But yeah, I have a small variety of the number 10 and the Thrive pantry cans, which are smaller. They're about the size of the smaller coffee containers. See, like this one here, but maybe a little bit taller. This is an actual metal coffee can, and I save it because these are great for storing other things, or you can use it to make something with. So if I get a metal can, I save it and I reuse it for storage. So I transferred some of my seeds that I have saved to a metal coffee can, which I emptied not all that long ago. And of course, my plastic coffee containers, if I don't get just bags of coffee and then refill those containers from those, and I keep those plastic coffee containers and I use those for storage. I have sugar in a couple of them. I got salt. Of course, I put them in a bag before I put it in a container. And I got I think that's all I have is sugar and salt in a couple of the coffee containers. And a lot of people use them. You can store like small parts like screws or nails or something like that if you're going to sort them for use them for a job, or if you're traveling and you have a large bag of cat or dog food, you can use that coffee container to put that food in. That way you have a smaller container to transport with your animal. And I have another one of those coffee cans like the one I showed. That has my homemade alcohol stove in it, so I keep it in that can. And if I use that homemade alcohol stove, when I want to snuff it out, I just put the can over top of it, and that snuffs it out. And after it cools, and I just put that alcohol stove into the can, put the lid on, and it's ready for the next time I want to use it. Saltfish, that would be an interesting one. But if you want fish in a ration, In some Polish rations, you will get sprats, which are kind of like a sardine. In Spanish rations, you will get sardines or you'll get mackerel. Or you'll get squid. I had squid out of a Spanish ration. It was a bit tough, it was a bit overcooked. And it was interesting to have the squid ink in the broth that the squid was cooked in. I haven't seen herring in a ration, but you can go to a store and buy it already packaged, or you can buy frozen. My family, we love smelt. Smelt is another small fish. It's about the size of a larger sardine, but we love that slightly floured and deep fried. Yeah, pickled herring is probably the most common way. My dad used to enjoy sardines, or he would get those cans that would have oysters in it, in that same type of can that you get sardines in. Smoked oysters. That was something that my dad used to enjoy. Yeah, kippers as well, but for my dad, it was either the smoked oysters or the sardines, but sometimes he would get the kippers. I actually haven't had kippers myself. But I might have to get a can. Yeah, smoked oysters are good too. Of course, his other favorite meal was linguine and clam sauce, and that was the last actual food he ate before he died back in November of '08. It was the evening of their 47th wedding anniversary. So my oldest sister fixed the meal in the way that my mom used to. And so my dad ate 2 bowls of it, plus whatever else he had. And then the next morning, he just after that, he was not really able to eat real food. A little bit, but somehow that was his way of telling us that, his time was coming. And so we were already completing arrangements, and we knew pretty much ahead of time that it was going to happen. But after that, we kicked it into high gear. But my dad enjoyed a lot of kinds of fish. But thanks for dropping in, Ciara. I'm probably going to go ahead and close this one out soon, since all I have left is my grape drink and my tea. Of course, I'm not just going to eat the sugar and the salt and pepper. I save these. Yep, he did. And we were able to fulfill his final wishes, and yeah, he made his peace and connected with whoever he wanted to connect with, and he was happy with that. And so we were happy with that. But anyway, next month, because this is the last review for November, I will pull out that beef ravioli and I might have a little fun with it. And again, thanks to CT and for an MRE Art Nina for dropping those super chats. It's much appreciated. That will help out either buy a piece of gear to test and review, or rations, or whatever I need to keep this channel going, even if I have to use it to pay an internet bill. But anyway, so that review will be coming up the first Sunday in December. So hope you come back then. And again, welcome to all those who came here for the first time. Every Sunday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, except when I'm not available, and I usually try to announce that ahead of time. Anyway, thanks for watching, and catch you on the flip side.